How do you even...
Hi, I'm Zoe from Zoe Bakes, and welcome to my kitchen. We're gonna make a sourdough starter, and this process can take several days, even up to 2 weeks. It kind of depends on the environment, on the flour, on the water, on the sourdough starter's mood. So don't get discouraged if this takes more than a week, because
Oof. It's a week-long process to do this sourdough bread starter.
sometimes it just does. There's a couple of things that I have found that are very helpful in terms of getting a sourdough starter to take, because essentially what we're doing is we're just combining flour and water and attracting the natural yeasts in the environment. And
Man, this sounds like it's quite a to-do. Myron Gaines gave you high praises on his show, W. Myron. When did that happen? Send it over to me if you have it. How to make a sourdough starter from scratch. Well, okay, this looks difficult. I'm not going to lie.
That is
Wait, you take flour and you mix it with water, and then you wait for natural stuff to happen. I don't know, guys.
all that a sourdough starter is. Use organic flour and use filtered water.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that I think make the biggest difference. If
You have to, okay, well, I mean, I'm writing this down. Filtered water and organic flour. You don't want any of that non-filtered water and other than organic flour, do you? Stupid.
you're using flour that has a lot of chemicals added to it, that's bleached even,
How many chemicals do you add to flour? Like, what is the most chemically dense flour that you can get on the market? What do they mix it with?
then it's not going to work as well or as quickly, and it may not actually work at all. So,
Why does it take so long, by the way, to just convey the information? Why does it take so long to just be like, okay, so you want to use filtered water and organic flour, and the difference between organic and non-organic is X, and then you move on. This video, you won't believe this. Okay, this is a process which includes flour and water, and you mix them together. This video is 24 minutes long. How the could this video be 24 minutes long? How?
organic all-purpose flour is the base of this. The filtered water, same exact reason. You don't want chlorine and all of the other things that they're putting into tap water to go into your starter, because it can inhibit or even kill the natural yeast that you're trying to attract. So having said all that, we're just going to mix together equal parts organic flour. So I'm going to take 50 grams of flour. Okay, so 50 grams of flour and then 50 grams of water. Oop, okay. Very close. I'm 3 grams off. That's going to be just fine. And then I'm just going to stir that together.
How do you f that up? How do you f that up? It's equal parts. It's exactly as much of this as it is of that. How do you f that up?
I like to use a little rubber spatula.
Oh, a little rubber spatula. Yes. Andrew, these women have a hard life. They have to make sourdough starters. Yeah, it's a real rough gig. Yeah, woman prattle. No. Have you ever tried to make a sourdough starter, Andrew? Honestly, it's pretty complicated.
Because then
pretty
I can
complex.
scrape it off of the sides.
Yeah.
Stir it together. Just making sure that it's all uniformly
You got to use
wet.
your little rubber spatula.
There aren't dry patches of flour.
Yeah. Oh, that's just
And then I'm going to cover it. I don't want to cover it.
You see the technique. There's got to be something to be said for the technique. You know, you have to give it like a little twist as you go. Otherwise, I mean, how could you mix it together without that?
Entirely because I want some air to get down in there. Essentially, I want...
It would be easy to f up. Yeah, if you're like, how hard is it? How hard is it to measure out equal parts of something? It's literally equal parts of the thing. And it can't even be that big of a deal because she went over and was like, it's no big deal.
On all those crazy little yeasts to find this and start doing their thing, feeding off of this flour.
How? Okay, we're two minutes in. How could this be 24 minutes? How?
So I am going to cover it, but I'm not, even though this is a mason jar and it comes with a twist top, I'm not using that. I am simply putting a lid of foil over the top.
See, I know all about this because I use equal parts of beer to liver enzymes.
It can be snug because air can get down under there, and I'm just gonna leave this.
Like, isn't the point that you want air to get in there? Isn't the whole point that you're making this into yeast essentially?
I'm actually gonna leave this as it is for
God.
2 days.
Ooh.
So,
man, okay, I saw at least so far, I would say that there has been at least 3 to 4 solid minutes of work here. Now, you might think that that's being a little charitable. Okay, a little charitable. Not going to lie, it'd be better for my soul to watch Cake8 video on repeat than the sourdough bread. You shut up. I want to know how hard it is to make a sourdough starter. I want to know that. Because Deborah told me it's really hard.
50 grams of water, 50 grams of organic flour.
Lord.
Cover it up, leave it at room temperature for 2 days.
I'm really glad she went back over this. I didn't get it the first time.
And we'll come back and we'll feed it and go from there.
Wow, this is great. This is fantastic. 3 to 4 minutes of work so far.
Okay, we are 48 hours later.
Okay, so we're going to add another 2 minutes because she changed her clothes. That's at least 2 more minutes of work. I'd say we're at about a grand total of about 6 minutes of work so far.
Mixed the flour and water together on day 1, skipped day 2, and now we're on day 3. And I just came home from the gym. I had planned to feed my starter later.
You should probably go back.
But I got home and I couldn't quite believe how much this has risen already.
Wow.
I hope you can zoom in.
That's
and
amazing.
See that.
That's insane.
It is.
Yeah, 3 days, 48 hours. I think that she's confused. Check out Cooking with Kaya. Don't tell me what to do.
And active.
That's why I divorced you, Jadolf, because of that, because you're always trying to tell me how to live my life.
And kind of miraculous.
Stop telling me how to live my life.
Trust me, this
I just got a natural yeast infection watching this.
Not always happen. I mean, 2 days and I have a semi-usable
3 days?
starter. That's not typical. This can take up to 2 weeks. I'm thinking maybe there's just like a crazy amount of yeast in the air in this kitchen, which kind of makes sense.
Why does that make sense? Is this woman science? Why does it make sense that her kitchen has more yeast in the air than other kitchens? Is there like an area dynamic here? Is it a Florida kitchen has more yeast in the air than a New York kitchen? Perhaps. Perhaps all New York kitchens make sourdough starters better than all Floridian kitchens, or perhaps vice versa.
So anyway, let's assume.
By the way, we're still at, and this is very charitable, about 6 minutes of work. None of this is additional work.
That you look at your starter on day 3 and it hasn't done much. Totally normal. Do not be freaked out. This is the freak. This is just bizarre. I don't think I have ever seen this before. What I'm going to do now on day 3 is I'm going to do the exact same thing I did before.
Okay.
I'm going to add my flour, the organic all-purpose flour, 50 grams of that, straight to the same jar.
Okay.
This one's so crazy active that I hope this all fits in this jar. This is really quite something. This is the absolute thing that I love about baking, is every time it's a little bit of a surprise.
Surprise!
So you would think, having done this for so many
Jacob, shut up,
that
Jacob.
I would have seen everything. Not so much.
Okay.
I am going to add.
There's more yeast in the kitchen because she's in the kitchen.
My flour and water.
I think I've
to the
officially got
jar,
the ick for yeast now.
just like I did the last time. All of this will be written out, linked.
Well, you got to write it out. How could we ever follow this complex and detailed step-by-step instruction unless you wrote it out? There's no possible way that I would ever be able to figure this out without an excellent cookbook that had detailed written descriptions of mix exactly the same amount of this with that and let it sit there in a jar. One day, hopefully one day, I'll be able to make a sourdough starter. I'm hoping.
Below.
It looks like it's a lot of work. Does the hard work refer to watching paint dry? Perhaps.
So don't worry about memorizing anything. And then I'm just going to stir it together.
Yeah, I was worried about having to memorize this extraordinarily complex process that you obviously need to write down for me.
Exactly the way I did before. I'm going to cover it up. And we will come back and take a look at this tomorrow.
Well,
who knows what we'll see tomorrow.
Okay, so I'm just going to be charitable, even though that was 30 seconds, and I'm going to add a full 1 minute of work. I would say that we're confidently between the clothes changing and the initial sourdough starting at about a comfortable 7 minutes.
Hi, we are now on day 4 of our sourdough starter.
Wow.
Kilo is here to help me out. Hi, puppy. And the starter looks entirely...
No, Brown Bunny, I don't want to wrap it up. I want to watch how to make a sourdough starter. How about you off?
Different than the last time we checked on it. And it is just... You know, it has a personality of its own.
It has a personality of its own, yeah.
So last
I can feel the personality coming off that sourdough starter.
time, it had risen up kind of miraculously and in a way I hadn't exactly anticipated. This time, it rose up.
Here's a few coins for the continuation of the grift. What's the debate topic going to be? It's going to be about sourdough starters and how complex they are to make.
You can see the line right here of where it rose and then it deflated again, which is what it's going to do because those air bubbles get so huge and weak that they pop and collapse. And then it also may separate. So you might see this little line here where you can see some liquid. And that's all normal. So this is day 4 of our starter.
A lot of work that goes into this so far.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to stir this up so that it's more uniform.
1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000,
liquid mixed
4 1,000, 5
so
1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10 1,000, 11 1,000, 12 1,000, 13 1,000. 14 1,000, 15 1,000.
So
hey, she left in the middle of her work.
Nice and uniform. And now what I'm going to do...
Well, let's give her 30 seconds at least. So it's 30 seconds of stirring. We're at a comfortable 7.5 minutes if we include her changing her clothing.
Is I'm going to pour out half of it. The reason that I'm doing
But she just did all that work.
Because if I just kept adding and adding and adding to this jar... I'm going to end up with like a gallon of starter. And I just don't want that much.
Yeah, I don't want that either.
So we're going to put that over here. And then we're going to take our jar and we're going to do the exact same thing again. We're going to add our 50 grams of flour. And then 50 grams of water.
Okay. I think I understand the process. Let's go skip to the end and see how it ends up here, shall we?
Frustrated.
By the way, I just skipped over 16 minutes of video.
It is a living experiment. So just keep feeding them, keep caring for them, and they will come together. This is one of those activities that I feel like is excellent to do with kids because they can see taking 2 ingredients like flour and water, adding them together, and all of the natural yeast and bacteria just from the atmosphere are going to create something that is alive. It's so cool. And then you...
Wow. I am super impressed. There's a lot more work that goes into a sourdough starter than I had once thought. You have to take water and flour, and then you pour the water in the flour and you stir it up, and then you let it sit. This is what an incredible process.